Good morning, Year 9. I hope you're well and having a lovely day. Please could you write the date and the title, The Lottery Part 3. So for your do now, Old Man Warner says, there's always been a lottery. Do you think this is the reason that nobody questions the purpose of the lottery anymore? What explanation can you come up with as to why the people don't get rid of the lottery? Pause the video for 5 minutes to answer these questions. It's very hard to break with long-established traditions, and especially hard if you live in a small community where everybody does the same thing. I think if you lived in the town in the story, you would have had to be exceptionally strong-minded to be able to challenge the existing views, especially if you had no example in front of you to compare your way of doing things with. Pause the video to make a note of the response. Okay, so we have another evaluation question today. The people in the story did not have any choice about participating in the lottery. How far do you agree? Go back to the text to find more evidence to show whether you agree or disagree. I've given you one agree point to start you off. Everyone participates. No one is allowed to stay at home. For example, when Dunbar is absent in the square, it has to be explained because he broke his leg. This shows everyone is checking that everyone is there and no one gets out of doing it. Pause the video for about 15 minutes to list as many agree and disagree reasons. Remember, so you're evaluating what points agree with the statement and what points disagree with the statement. Pause the video to do this now. Okay, so I'm going to give you the agree and disagree points. So, in addition to the first one, Tess Hutchinson apologised for being late, showing that again, in this town, people adhere to very strict rules. Old Man Warner says, there's always been a lottery, showing people still cling to traditions, even if they don't know what the purpose of them is anymore. In a small town where everyone knows everyone else, it would be very hard to do something against the majority. No one helped Tess when she started screaming, showing that people accept this way of being. The fact that even kids are given stones, even Tess's children had stones to stone her, shows this is very much a way of life that everyone is expected to participate in. The fact that kids are chosen too shows it's no longer even shocking to people. Adams dismissed people in other towns not having a lottery, calling them crazy or fools, showing it'll be harder for this town to change. In terms of disagree, people in the nearby North Village are considering giving up the lottery, so that means people were able to see it wasn't the right thing to do. And some towns have already given up the lottery, showing it's not one town but several that have given it up. So pause the video for a couple of minutes to make sure you've written down everything on this slide. So finally, we're going to now write up our ideas. So can you use the framework on the slide? Make sure you use evidence as well to write up your ideas in full. I mostly agree with the statement, as it seems the townspeople are very set in their ways. One of the reasons I agree is because that when they are assembling in the town square, people have to account for not being there. For example, people have to explain that the reason Dunbar is not there is because he broke his leg and Ted Hutchinson apologises for being late. This shows that people know that they are not allowed to miss the lottery. So what you need to do is, in a similar way to that first statement, you need to write a second and a third statement agreeing with the idea that people do not have any choice. And you can use quotes to support you if you want. And then you also need a disagree point. And then finally, could you please write a conclusion? So just a mirror of the introduction, I mostly agree with the statement as it shows that the townspeople are very set in their ways. So could you pause the video please until the end of the lesson to finish up writing all your points in the way that I've started you off doing. So pause the video to do this now. Okay, and that is the end of today's lesson. So I hope you found it interesting. Hopefully now you're getting quite good at these evaluation questions, using evidence from the text to agree or disagree with the statement. As I think I've mentioned, your English language exam, when you start GCSEs next year, will have an evaluation question, the hardest one on the language paper. So it's really important that you understand this process. So thank you very much for your work today. Have a lovely weekend and speak to you next time.